For the next 30 days, I'm going to add yards to my golf swing by working with a trainer, lifting heavy weights, and swinging really hard. In every scramble I play in, I have to tee off first. If you want to sugarcoat it, I'm the fairway finder. If you want to be realistic, my drive usually doesn't matter. I hit it out there and then let the good players do their thing. But it's time that I change that. Before I can start improving, I have to see where I stand right now. So I headed over to PXG Mesa, where I got fit for my driver, to see my numbers on their TrackMan. Camden is the PXG fitter I've been working with for a while. Here's the driver we got fit into a couple months ago. We've got the Gen 5 driver head with the Ventus blue shaft, and then I've got the just like stock PXG grip. Who's the company that makes the grip? Lamkin. After hitting driver on the TrackMan for about 30 minutes, we came to the conclusion that my average club speed was 101 miles an hour, my average total drive was 282, and my best drive of the entire day, swinging as hard as I could, was 296 yards.
All right, man. 297 is your number.
Okay. That's about I think as good as I could hit it probably right now, so. If I spent the next 30 days just purely working on how far I could hit this ball, could I hit it as far as Bryson DeChambeau's average drive on the PGA Tour, 320 yards? Almost 30 yards longer than my best drive. Is it possible for me to gain 30 yards in 30 days? Let's find out. Once I had my distance goal in mind, it was time to get serious about my fitness. I headed down to Fast Acceleration in Chandler for an assessment with Jeff Placentia, who is a physical therapist and fitness trainer. My assessment with Jeff and Cole went great. I'm 5'11" and I weighed in at 160 pounds. We did a bunch of different stretches, some flexibility tests. We tested tendons and muscles to see if there would be any potential injuries right out the gates while doing these exercises. After I was cleared to lift, Jeff set me up with an insane 3 times a week workout session geared specifically for golfers, and it kicked my ass. Day 1 began with stretches and warm-ups, followed by today's compound exercise, deadlifts, with box jumps thrown in between each set. Then we went to the cable machine for core rotation and leg extension, and I finished with these 4 moves, with the last 2 stressing balance and flexibility. This last one was killer. It was basically the first time ever I had worked out my hip flexors and I was cramped. Day 2 was back into jogging and warm-up, punching with this kettlebell, and then straight into my most hated exercise, sliding lunges. These next moves worked different back muscles before we finished with some insane balance moves and absolute core shredders. Our big moves for day 3 were hip thrusts and medicine ball throws. I went through a variety of shoulder exercises, but the entire time Jeff stressed the importance of flexing the abs and the glutes, keeping the core tight throughout. I ended the week with a final blast of core and stretching. Now at this point, I have to say a huge thank you to Super Speed Golf. When they heard I was trying to add yardage to my drive, they sent me over some of their coolest equipment used by over 600 PGA Tour players to add speed, add distance to your drive. These Super Speed sticks were great. There were 3 different weights of them, and you'd put the blast motion sensor on the end of each club and it would give you the data on your cell phone. I got on a routine where I would swing them left-handed, step through, and then finish it off with, as hard as I could, air swing driver swings with the motion sensor attached. After a week of going through the workouts and the speed sticks, I was feeling amazing. I was hitting the ball farther than I had before, and my speed was feeling great. Size and strength isn't everything when it comes to hitting the ball far. Take my friend Haley, for example. I'm much taller than her, and she's in fantastic shape, but she's not out there looking like Bryson or Jeff, but she hits the ball so far. And how does she do it? 1, perfect technique, and 2, she does it the exact same way every single time. Golf coaches always say that speed in the right places is the key to hitting the ball far, and I needed to find where those places are. So next step was meeting up with my swing coach, Dan. Dan's an amazing swing coach, and he's helped me go from this to this, which is a huge improvement, and I've seen my scores drop a ton since I've been working with him. Here are a couple of things that we worked on in today's first lesson.
So I'm gonna get you in just a little better setup here. It's gonna feel like you're kind of far away from it, but that's gonna feel normal. We're getting a little more eccentric. Feet are solid. Let's get our hips right and get a little tilt. Lock in that K position. Yep. It's all right. Does that make sense? We're kind of getting some more speed by extending to it.
Yeah.
Instead of standing so close and being all folded up, right? Make sure your hips are square, shoulders, tilt. Nice. Get your grip a little better. You're back to there you go. Nice in there. Get your grip right. See that ball go. Get your grip better. You're back to that strong rope hook.
Unfortunately, this is an area where I think I really messed up. This lesson was huge and much needed, but changing so many things about my setup, about my takeaway, and my grip especially, made me so uncomfortable for the next probably 2 weeks. Not only did I change my actual physical grip from a crazy left hand over the top to a more neutral, I also took an oversized mid-sized lambkin grip that I had and replaced it with this standard super stroke grip. It got to the point where I was just straight up in a slump. I would look forward to par threes because I didn't have to use my driver. I would sit over the ball thinking I should be practicing swinging harder at this, but I can't even comfortably swing normal. 30 yards in 30 days seemed like an impossible task, but I had no choice but to press on. By the end of week 3's workouts and speed sticks and getting reps in at the range, I felt like I could do this. I decided to take week 4 and give it everything I had before I would go into PXG. Week 4 went great. I was really excited with my progress, and here's where I made my second big mistake. I had to take a Los Angeles trip and a Denver trip right at the end of August into the beginning of September, so I wasn't able to book my final appointment with PXG until 2 weeks later than I had hoped. But after we got through those 2 weeks, it was time to head into PXG and find out how many yards I had added to my swing.
295.8. 300.
Oh.
So 2 degrees higher. We have 312 and 10.
We're over 300 again.
Yep, 300. 303.
All right, so that's the best we got so far, right?
That's what we got so far.
That's the fastest.
Fastest one, 107.
Early extension is
305.
okay.
That's one.
9 yards. A month of training, speed sticking, lessons to gain 9 yards onto my driver's swing. In the moment, did it feel like I had failed? Absolutely. But let's talk realistically. My goal of 30 yards in 30 days was pretty crazy. It was fun, it was catchy, it gave me something to really strive for. But I just wanted to see if I worked super hard with a lot of professionals that are fantastic at their job, how much could I really add in 1 month? I took my total average drive from 282 at the beginning of the month to 294. I brought my average club speed up from 101 to 106, a 5-mile-an-hour difference in the span of a month. And I hit my farthest drive 9 yards farther than the hardest I could possibly swing the driver at the beginning of the month. I want to talk about what I would do differently if I had to start over. One, I definitely wouldn't take a break between the end of my training and when I actually got to go see how many yards I had added. Second, I would take this lesson with Dan where I perfected my setup, my technique, and my grip, and I would do that about 2 weeks before I started speed training. I think I wasted a lot of time really trying to get comfortable just hitting my driver. That was time I really just needed to be swinging as hard as I could. Those lessons where I really worked on my driver technique and hitting the ball straight, those were very important, but I should have done those before I began my speed training. Last but not least, I would really work on 2 things that I didn't put much emphasis onto. One of which was my food and my eating, and second would be my flexibility and my stretching. Overall, I'm super happy with the results of everything I did in this past month. An added bonus of the speed training is that now that I've settled into the technique, gotten a little bit more comfortable over the ball, I'm hitting my driver farther and straighter than I ever have in my life. I'm hitting tons of fairways and playing great golf. I want to end this video by saying thank you to, first and foremost, PXG and my fitter Camden. If you want to go get fit for some PXG clubs, check out my link in bio to go see everything that PXG has in their shop. Next up, I want to say thank you to Jeff Placentia and Fast Acceleration in Chandler. They have an incredible gym. They do physical therapy and training, especially if you're a golfer. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Jeff. Again, check out Jeff in the bio below. Next up, I want to say thank you to my coach, Dan. He and I have been working together forever. He's a good friend of mine and he is a great golf coach. Follow him down below at golfguygigan on his Instagram. And last but not least, thank you to Super Speed Golf and Blast Motion Golf for hooking me up with the speed sticks. This is not a sponsored video, but I can say that I really recommend it. They were awesome to use and I'm gonna keep using them. Finally, thanks to you all for watching this video. I really appreciate you spending your time checking out my process. I hope I made it clear and easy to follow. I'm gonna keep doing this and see if I can add on more and more yards and see if eventually we can hit some Bryson numbers. If you have any questions about what I did or any suggestions for future improvements, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.